Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Jonathan Ahl. A total of 113 films will be in the spotlight during the 19th annual Whitaker St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase, which gets underway Friday and continues through July 21st. Ranging from narrative and experimental shorts to feature-length documentaries, this year's lineup also includes a documentary short directed by 14-year-old Joshua Kelley. It's titled A Look Ahead, Our Energy Future in 20 Years. Joshua joins me in studio alongside with Chris Clark, who's the artistic director of the nonprofit Cinema St. Louis, which is presenting the festival. Chris and Joshua, thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here.
Chris, let me start with you. So 19 years, you've been here the whole time, quite a history. What is new and different about the way that this festival has evolved over time and that people who've been going for a long time might see different and changing about it?
This is the 19th year of the showcase. We've produced 18 of those 19 years, and technology is one thing that's changed mightily. We used to project things from DVDs and VHS tapes. Now everything is digital. The number of submissions entered this year were bigger than ever, 151 submissions from which we selected these 113 films. There's often the same people that we work with, almost every year, who are professional filmmakers, but every year more than half are brand new people to the table, like Joshua. So it's great to see new voices. A lot more. I think I don't have an exact count, but I think there's more women filmmakers participating in this event than ever. Over the past couple of years, there's been a big increase in people of color and from all over the region. And we also include expatriates who escape our shores of the Mississippi to work elsewhere. So it's always exciting to see new voices and new talent and new people and new directions. And, a whole bunch of filmmakers are brand new. This is their first film. So it's a very exciting time for them to present their film in an event like this.
I'd love your take on the state of filmmaking right now, because on the one hand, it feels like the number of production companies is shrinking and that the box offices are dominated by just a couple of and even the documentary world seems to be dominated by a small number of people. But on the other hand, with internet distribution and with the price going down on editing software and being able to shoot stuff, it's easier to make a movie now than it ever has before. So it kind of seems like an interesting dichotomy. I'm wondering your take on the state of filmmaking right now.
Yeah, like you just said, when people had to work with film or expensive tape formats in the ancient years, 10 years ago, it was prohibitive for anyone to do it. But now with the advances in digital technology, people can also, make a movie with their phones. Doesn't mean that they should, but it's possible. And anyone with any budget can make a film. What I'm looking for is, have they told a good story that other people are interested in? But anyone on any budget can make something, and that's the great equivocator. That's where a lot of these new voices and new directions are coming from.
Do you think the quality has been improving over the 19 years?
I think so. People are telling better stories, and with a deeper pool of participants, there's lots of different thought processes that go into it, and more types of stories. It's not all gangster things or the same, squadron of 20-something white boys who make the same films over and over again with gangsters and zombies and stuff. Now there's all kinds of stories from all directions and all walks of life all over the region. So it's more indicative of where we live.
One of those stories is a look at what energy consumption is going to be like in 20 years and what local companies are doing about that. And that was done not through the lens of a seasoned filmmaker, not even through the lens of someone who can legally drive a car yet, but through 14-year-old Joshua, who's here. Joshua, where did the idea for you to do this documentary come to you?
Well, when I was much younger, I had heard about it, and it really piqued my interest. I was really interested, but I had never been given an opportunity to really explore. But then when I was finishing 8th grade, at my school, the Waldorf School of St. Louis, we were asked to write in-depth paper on something that was important to us. And so along with an artistic component. And so from that, I was able to make a documentary, which I had really wanted to do since I had wanted to get into film and television.
So what was the topic first, or was the medium first, or did they come together?
they came together. I wanted to make a documentary, and then I thought, hey, wait a minute, I've been really interested in renewable energy, and so I just put the two of them together and decided to make a documentary on that.
In your documentary, you talk with industry leaders, you talk with activists, you talk with a number of different people. Was it a challenge to get them to take you seriously? That, I'm 14, but I want to do an interview with you? Because sometimes, we're professional journalists. Some of us have been doing this for 20 years, and sometimes it's hard for us to get people to do interviews with us. What was your experience like?
It was very hard because, well, it cost me my spring break.
Okay.
Yeah, because the only time that these people were working professionals, and the only time I could get them to sit down and talk with me was during the week. And after loads and loads of emails and phone calls, I was finally able to get them, these 5 people, during the break. And that was the only time. But it was so worth it. It was amazing to talk with them.
In your documentary, you profile some things that Ameren's doing, some things that Missouri American Water's doing, a local company that's involved in making the things for more green energy. Were you surprised of what you found was going on right here in those terms?
I was. I didn't, since before, when I was doing research, I had learned that, and also from one of the interviews, that Missouri is powered 81% by coal, which is a fossil fuel that releases bad toxins into the air. And then when I heard from Ameren's, especially Ameren, that they're really making an effort to make it better. They tore down their O'Fallon plant and completely replaced it with the solar plant, about over 18,000 solar panels. And it was really nice to see that they were also helping other businesses like Missouri American Water. A big reason that Missouri American Water decided to put in solar panels was because of Ameren's rebate plan. And so not only was Ameren helping itself, it was helping other businesses too.
Let's hear a little bit of the documentary that Joshua did.
It's clear the direction of our energy future is being fought mostly in Washington, but it's not really the politicians doing the fighting. Their goals are based on representing their constituents, money, or re-election. This contest is really between 2 competing industries, one group trying to grow and the other trying to stay.
Any artistic endeavor, one of the things that is always looked for is somebody who has a point of view, and you clearly have a point of view. How does it feel to use this medium of documentary film to try to get that point of view across?
Well, what exactly point of view?
Well, I mean, I think that you, in watching the documentary, clearly you think there's a major problem,
Yes.
and that there's some work to go to fix it, but not enough. And that seems to be a very distinct point of view, especially for someone who's 14.
Yes, there is a problem and it does need fixing, but there is actually effort being done. As I said before, Ameren is putting in effort. And also in later research that I made, in April of this year, renewable energy was able to output more energy than coal for the first time. And this is not just Missouri, it's everywhere. And so we really are moving forward, and it really is good.
Who is your audience, and what do you hope those people will get out of watching your documentary?
I believe that my audience is to really almost to anyone. That it may just spark an interest or inspiration, that they may want to maybe change a little something, and maybe put a little more effort in this. But I think even though I did make the documentary, things have actually already been happening. It has been brought to the attention since the World Health Organization estimates that over 4 million people a year die from causes directly related to pollution. And So 4 million people, that's the entire population of the eastern half of Missouri. So in 1 year, they're all gone. And that has really been brought to the attention of many people. And so the effort is being made. And it's really good, and it does make me happy.
I'm really interested in some of the nuts and bolts of this. Like, did you have a specific budget for this film, and where does a 14-year-old get the money to bankroll a documentary project?
Well, it didn't really take much, just besides our effort.
When you say our, who?
Oh, so yeah, the people, I couldn't have really done it without 3 people. My dad, my brother Lucas, and our good friend Bob Clark. Now, my brother Lucas, bless him, he is 12 years old, and I would say that probably one of the best sound people here in St. Louis. He did all of the sound. It was all him.
Let's get his resume, guys, back there. If we got a sound guy, I know there's child labor laws, but let's try. Anyway, go on, Joshua.
But yeah, I really couldn't have done it. And even though it was a lot of work, and he could have just said, I don't want to do this. This is way beyond me. He stuck with me all of the way. And I love him for that.
Now, the 20, it was 20 some odd minutes, I think. That's a little bit long for what people tend to think is a short film, and it's a little bit short for a documentary. So did you just kind of organically try to make it as long as you wanted it to be?
It was kind of funny because originally we were shooting for about 8 to 10 minutes because we had no idea how long the people that we were interviewing would want to sit down and talk with us. Maybe it'd be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And so we really didn't know how much we were going to get out of them. And it ended up being around 20 minutes because each interview took around 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And I was really surprised that they were able to sit down and talk with the nervous wreck of a 14-year-old.
If this is a nervous wreck, I think you're doing just fine. Don't worry
thank
about
you.
it. So, Chris, does Cinema St. Louis have specific efforts around supporting young local filmmakers like Joshua?
No forward specific program, but I always like to see a variety of ages submitting to this event. And for full disclosure, I went to college with Josh's dad, who owns a production company. That's why they have a lot of stuff. And so I was going to be really embarrassed if I didn't like this which is long, a 20-minute documentary by a well-meaning 8th grader. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be rocky. But I was so very surprised and glad to be wrong that it was such a pristine and well-made production. Where if it was just made by any other 8th grader, it might have been well-meaning, but not proficient enough and not eligible for the event. So it's great. We've had participants as young as 4th graders who made a film about manners from some city public school a number of years ago. So that's always great.
We're focusing a lot on Joshua's work here, but what else are the other surprises? Now, with 113 films, it might be difficult to pick, a favorite or, something that's really notable. But what other films that'll be in the festival you think may be something that's different, that was a surprise and is something that you really like to see?
Another first-time filmmaker is a documentary called Road to the Pros about the local boxing scene.
And we'll be talking about that one tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, Earl. Earl's a very nice guy. I haven't met him yet, but it turns out that even though I don't know him, I've been to I was on city swim team when I was a kid, so I've been to a bunch of those gyms before, and he and I actually know a lot of the same people. So there, because it's St. Louis, there's always connections back and forth, and it was a really well-made and informative look at the boxing scene. There are lots of films by women this year, lots of film by people of color, and lots of films by people of all ages. Another woman who is I don't know how old she is, but maybe in her 60s. She made her first film is a documentary about her car, which is a 1969 Comet, which is in countless films made in St. Louis over time, and probably 7 films that's in the event this summer because people love this car and use it in shoots all the time. So she is beyond excited to have this film, and she just actually won a Telly Award for a shorter version of the film a couple of months ago. So a lot of people are just so excited to have their work shown on the big screen and hang out with the big kids, and half the participants have done it before, but a lot of them are new. So it's always very exciting.
Even the most ardent fan is not going to be able to see all 113 of them. So what advice would you get to someone to try to figure out, of all of these films that are going to be shown over the length of the festival, how do you decide which ones to see?
Certain are the narrative shorts are sort of pushed into like categories. Like there's 2 horror film programs, there are several dramatic shorts programs, and things that you might like. That's the easiest way to start an experimental shorts program. If that's your thing, look for that. So just pour over the website, and none of these films have big, huge stars. There's no so Catherine Zeta-Jones or George Clooney are not in any of these films. So you might not recognize talent on that way, but since it is St. Louis, you might know somebody involved in some production, or a friend's child, or a cousin is a cinematographer. So there's always a connectivity. That's another way that people will go to things. Just subjects that you like. But I want to say that if you took a chance randomly on any single program, any attendee would be just super impressed at the level of quality of these films. When you think local films or student films, you might think, they might be kind of rocky or kind of cheesy, but they are not. And that's why these 113 films were picked, because I think they could stand toe-to-toe with any film or any filmmaker anywhere.
It seems like maybe it's easier or more accessible to do something that's documentary or nonfiction, or something that is real, and instead of writing a script and doing something that's fiction for someone's first entree into filmmaking. But what are the fiction films like in terms of quality and depth that you have in the festival? There
are an insane number of super talented technicians, the cinematographers and the sound people. So the story is a separate part, and that's what I look for the most. But these films look great. The sound is good, the pictures are good. So there's a lot of really professional, talented people working on these stories. And yes, of course, it'd be easier to do a documentary, but the people that have made these fiction films, have really done some well-crafted work.
And the script writing side and the acting of those are
I look at
those?
a checklist of marks that I want people to hit for something that I'm interested in, and there's a lot of great stuff out there.
Joshua, back to you. So what's next for you? I mean, I'm going to guess this is not your last film project.
You guessed right. It is not my last film project, but at least I know I don't want it to be. I don't have anything in mind yet, but I know I do want to do something in the future.
Is this something that you want to do as a profession, do you think?
It is growing as one of my interests, since I'm currently lacking as to the question, what do I want to be when I grow up, or what do I want to do?
Joshua, I'm 45. I have no idea what I want to be when I grow up, so don't feel like you have to answer that to anybody, especially on the radio.
No, but I do enjoy this line of work.
Mm-hmm. Why? What about it charged you up?
Well, I suppose it's because I see my dad is in this line of work, and so I want to grow up to be like him or do his kind of work. And of course, I'm a big Marvel fan, watch a lot of movies, and seeing all them, and it's just like inspiration. I do want to see that, and I want to do that stuff.
Do you have any general topics that you might want to take on for your for something in the future?
Like genres?
Yeah, or genres or ideas, or the next film series is only a year away.
Well, so I've done a documentary, and I think next I would like to be in a short film or short movie, or in a play. I attempted to audition at Shakespeare in the Park. Obviously I didn't get in, but just to explore this world of film and television.
I'm one of those people that likes to watch things. I watch the credits. I always stay into the very end. And I noticed at the very end of yours, your dedication of your documentary was for Mama. Can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, I love my mom. and I was thinking about her through most of it, because she She gave birth to me, and she cared for me. She loves me very deeply. And I just wanted to give a little something back. To show all my hard work was for her.
I can only imagine how much she's smiling right now. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about, if people want more information about where to go and how to get to the festival, where can they find that?
The event this year will be held on the campus of Washington University in Brown Hall, which is on Forsyth near Skinker. Brand new construction all around, but we'll have a big, huge sign on the side. The entire schedule is on our website at cinemastlouis.org. Just look for the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase on the drop-down menu from the events. Tickets are on sale for all shows and selling briskly. So if there's something people want to see, they should scurry to their keyboards and get there. But plenty of tickets will also be available at the venue.
I want to thank both of you for being here today. Chris Clark, Artistic Director for Cinema St. Louis, and Joshua Kelley, filmmaker whose short documentary is one of 113 films in the spotlight at this year's festival. Both of you, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much for having us.
This is St. Louis on the Air on KWMU 90.7.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.